Time to get your fix. Come on down, get your horrible gaming review. 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 Wow.
Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming, and welcome to another horrible game review. A couple of disclaimers as usual. The word horrible in the title of this content does not refer to the game or DLC that I am reviewing, but the content itself. I do snap judgment reviews here. I get about 5 to 10 hours with the game, and I'm trying to give you an idea if you're going to have fun right away or not. With that in mind, added with the fact that I believe video games is one of the most subjective forms of art, I do not give scored reviews here. Instead, I will be telling you the overview of what the game is, then I will give you the pros and the cons of the game in my point of view, as all reviews are, and then I will tell you whether or not I will be sticking with the game outside the purposes of this video. Alright, disclaimers out of the way. Super excited to do this one. Young Souls has launched. Now, if you don't know what Young Souls is, it is a 2D hack and slash brawler with a whole heap of mechanics added in, including weapons and equipment, a stamina dodge system, parrying and blocking with shields and weapons, ranged attacks, all sorts of stuff. It's not just your standard beat 'em up fare. That being said, this originally launched in early access on Stadia. It was a Stadia original, but we all know where Stadia is now. So now it is starting to come to all the other platforms in an actual fully released state. So you can get this on Steam, you can get this on Epic, and you can definitely get this on the Xbox because it is in Game Pass day one. So before we get into the pros and cons, let's go over what this game is. All right, so this is kind of a hand-drawn, artistic sort of adventure where you take the role of two teenage twins, older teenage twins. They are adopted. Their adopted father, this professor who seems to be a rather heady sort of gentleman, constantly wrapped up in his work, and they are kind of ne'er-do-wells around town. They have a bad reputation. In any case, this professor goes missing, and then these kids uncover the fact that the professor has a secret cave under his house that leads into a world of goblins, and that these goblins are planning to attack the overworld. And then what follows is them getting sucked into conspiracy and adventure through a lot of unmeasured violence on goblins. Now, the way the game kind of plays out as far as the cycle of it is during the night cycle of the game is when you're going into the dungeons of the goblins. You use these portals in a travel rune, yada, 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 but whatever, to get a little bit deeper, then teleport back. You basically fight through dungeon after dungeon after dungeon until you can level up. Once you level up, you then return back to your home, you sleep, and then during the day, you travel to the city, you make purchases, you communicate with people, you do a little bit more of the social / equipping inventory management part of the game. That's also stylistic. They give you this little moped they let you drive around even though it's 2D. It's kind of interesting the way they do that. And then there's tons of stores that you can purchase stuff from in the human world. You can sell stuff at the pawn shop for dollars, which allow you to get cosmetic changes to your characters. Always fun. There's also a gym where you can specifically tailor-make each of the twins to what you want their playstyle to be. As you level up, you'll get tokens to go there, and then you end up having to play a small mini game. Once you play the mini game, you level up in some area. You also have a sneaker shop that gives you magical sneakers, which can't argue with that, and then a bunch of other people to talk to, a little more flavor, a lot more social element of the game. Then there's this well in the town. I don't want to spoil too much, but basically it's a goblin chunk of the city called the Goblin Market, where you can actually purchase weapons and armor, upgrade those weapons and armor, and purchase potions for your next run. All that sort of meaty stuff. Okay. So that being said, once you're done with that, you return back to the house, you head down in the portal and get into some more 2D hack and slash fun. All right. The main crux of the storyline is pretty straightforward and simple, but the dialogue is very interesting, which we're going to get into in the pros and cons. And what is very also interesting is it gives you a real dungeon crawler feel, even though it's 2D. You have this kind of overworld map, kind of a la Darkest Dungeons, that slowly becomes lit up as you find new areas and how it connects. It tells you what level you should be at before you go into those dungeons, and then each one has either a small boss or a big boss that you have to take on with different mechanics. All right, so that's it. That's the game. I mean, in a whole, that's the game. Rinse, repeat, and the story slowly unfolds. So let's get into the pros and cons. Obviously, I always like to go positive first, so we got to go with pros. Number one is without a doubt the art style and presentation of this game. I was blown away by it, wowed by it, that they literally seamlessly move between kind of an almost 2D / 3D plane when you're doing the cutscenes, and then they just kind of like spiral out to show the twins back in the 2D hack and slash plane. And I really enjoyed how that story was told through the artistic appearances of the drawing. The art, the pictures, all of that. It's very artistically done, and it's very well done in that area. My next thing, going right, just heaping onto that kind of narrative feel, is the writing of this game. Holy shit! This writing is amazing. I very rarely play these indie games looking for writing. I mean, usually there's like a mechanic or two that really attaches you and pulls you in. That's kind of how it goes. I mean, games like this don't usually get, like, they usually have a good story, but they don't have the, like, really meaty, good, realistic writing. And it's not really realistic, but just the twins say everything you want to say. They are badasses through and through. They walk into a room and they just own it. And I love that about them. They're not, the minute you see them, the minute I saw them, I thought, oh God, they're going to be emo-y kids. They're going to be like, oh, I don't know if I should kill or not, or really in their head about it. These kids are just badasses. They immediately drop an F-bomb in the first scene, and that was kind of like the cue right there. It's like, oh, this is going to be fun. Very rarely in a game without voice acting do I find myself really, really wanting to like figure out what everybody's saying or reading the text. I go out of my way to find new text chains so that I can see what these kids are going to say to people. I love the writing here. I love the way they position the writing. There's a whole scene when you first meet the mayor, not on the bus, but when you actually go to his office with his secretary. I won't spoil it, but it is incredibly well done to the point where it made me laugh out loud. And I just wasn't expecting that in a game like this, so it kind of blew me away. My next pro is the mechanics, the heaping mechanics. Now, this is actually going to kind of be a con later, which we'll talk about, but they really took that hack and slash side-scrolling 2D and they just poured the mechanics on. And everybody has said that, you know, it's got Souls in the title. It's kind of got some Souls elements to it with the stamina system. Sure, but like every game has a stamina system. That's not really how I look at this. I look at this more like a Golden Axe or a Streets of Rage 4, but just with just tons of mechanics poured on that good base system. They basically took a solid foundation and built a castle on it. There is everything to the fighting that you have to worry about. Positioning, where your back is to an enemy, how your weapon attacks, how its special attacks. Each direction that you're pressing when you're using the weapon causes a different special attack, and those are all different depending on the weapons. You have two-handed daggers, two-handed giant axes, one-handed swords, shields, armor. This kind of stuff just makes this game so amazing, especially when you get past the more than sizable chunk where it doesn't do any of that. We'll talk about that in the cons, but once you get into the meatiness of this, I love it. There's every weapon that I've gotten has had some sort of ability or some sort of weird aspect to it. It increases your speed, it lowers your speed. What's even more interesting is the amount of stuff you have equipped on slows your character down. Actually, his movement on the screen. which is huge in a game like this. And your attacks have to be absolutely precise, and they have to, as well as your defenses. You have to be very aware of what's going on around you, more so than just about any 2D brawler that I've ever played. And I have to give them credit, even if some of this is a little janky, which we'll get into, but I have to give them credit for doing something that I've just never played a 2D brawler like this. They really thought outside the box, and I really, really enjoy them for that. All right, let's go ahead and get into the cons. All right, right up front, I noticed just a few small bugs. One of the major ones being that my characters actually vanished at one point. I could still move around the screen, like it was very clear that they were still interacting with things, but I couldn't see them other than their scarf, which was interesting. That was a bug that I noticed, so I think there's a couple of bugs in here that this needs to get ironed out. So I do want to mention that, but that's minor compared to my biggest overall complaint on this, and that is there is no online co-op in this game. There is local co-op, and you can also kind of like jury rig it using Steam's remote play feature, but that's really you're playing remotely through Steam through another person's game. This does not actually have any built-in online co-op, which is a huge missed opportunity. How in 2022 do we have a game that has local co-op but not online co-op? It's crazy to me. In any case, it's a huge botch, in my opinion. There should definitely be online co-op here. It would make this experience a lot better if I could play this with a buddy that isn't sitting right next to me. I think that especially with the fact that you always have these two twins, you're always using these two twins. And again, if you're playing in single, I didn't mention this in the overarch, and I apologize about that, but if you're playing in single, you switch back and forth between the twins anytime you want. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that is a huge missed opportunity here. I think that, like, we really should have online co-op here, really. My next big negative is how unforgiving it is and how kind of some of the mechanics work together. Okay, so first of all, this definitely they were trying to go for the Dark Souls-y, like, very unforgiving, hard type of game feel. The problem here is that a game like this works so much faster than a game like Dark Souls. Dark Souls, while it is unforgiving, still has a modicum of kind of like pacing slower to it so that you can learn the attacks, learn the chains. This, everything's coming at you, and it's coming at you fast, and sometimes that is very, very hard to figure out where they're coming from and how they're coming from. Plus, if you defend, you're not blocking anything behind you, so you have to be aware of your positioning. Absolutely. And in a game like this, that is a 2D side-scrolling hack and slash, it is very, very hard to manage that. You then add in all these mechanics they put in, just these tons of mechanics. It is really hard. I can't count the number of times I died because I forgot that I could even use healing potions, just because I was managing so many other mechanics, such as the dodge system, the mana system, the ranged attack system, the parry system. And that kind of stuff can bog it down just a little bit. I still think overall it's a good thing. It's just, I've got to mention it in the cons because there were multiple moments where it was like I was caught and thrown for a loop on this. My other con is the slow start to this game. And obviously this is something that, this right here is literally the reason that I do Snap Judgment reviews. Because somebody who was forcing themselves to play all the way through this game would forget this part. And this is an important part for people who are just starting. But all of the coolness in this game, the really cool stuff, other than the dialogue and the art style, you really don't get it till about 2-3 hours into the game, which is kind of a bummer. I mean, right off the bat, there is some action, but it's just to teach you how to play at the very least. And then there is a lot of talking. It's good talking, but a lot of talking. Then after that, you get these chunks of action between huge chunks of dialogue, and you never really get to, in the first couple of hours, really get to enjoy the loot system, the equipment system, or any of the really fun parts of this game, because of that slowness, because of that slow start. I would say I would definitely say about the first 3 hours. After the first 3 hours, it really starts to get in, really starts to dig in. You start to get new weapons and get to make the choices of whether your character is going to be a dagger fighter or a big blade fighter. I also do really like the single player. You can like kind of tailor make one character to be a faster fighter and one character to be a bigger fighter so that you can use them well together in certain situations. But that is another thing that you don't get the first gym token until after you've leveled up once, and you don't level up once for a long time. I feel like the real genius of this game is hidden behind 3 hours of setup, and I enjoy the setup. The setup is all needed. I feel like the setup, however, could have had a little bit better pacing in order to give you better experience, better leveling, to allow you to experience those weapons and those customization options earlier in the game to really hook you. I think anybody who isn't giving this thing a full 3 hours is not going to see the fun parts of this game. They're going to walk away early, which is kind of a bummer. So yeah. That's it, guys. That's the review. I hope this helped. Whether or not I'm going to stick with it, easy. I'm definitely going to stick with it. This is right up my alley. This is Brawler. This is 2D hack and slash. It's a little bit more unforgiving than I like to. So I recommend everybody play it on balanced first. Even though it says to play it on challenging, I'd play it on balanced difficulty. But yeah, I'm definitely going to stick with it. I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying my time with it. I'm enjoying looting it up, and it's really started to kick into a point where it's beckoning me back into it. So I hope this helped you guys make a decision. As usual, you can contact us on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on Twitter at OldManGaming9. You can join our Discord. Links in the description below. You can influence us in all of our shows from there. And I just want to say, if you guys have requests or whatever, contact me on Discord. If I can get a hold of the game without spending money, then I will, and I will review it. You can also, check out everything we have to offer. We really enjoy putting stuff out. So please stay tuned in the channel. As long as you keep watching this, and we'll keep making them. Next week, I'm going to be reviewing Buccaneers, another indie darling. I don't know if I'd say darling because I just kind of found it. It released a couple of days ago, and it's a really interesting game that I want to review. So we're going to review that, and then I will probably be on vacation, and you will not be getting any reviews for the week after. So next week, Buccaneers, and we'll see you then. As long as you keep watching and keep making, we'll keep making them. See you guys then.